The first fundamental human right that the Equal Life Foundation promotes and underwrites is that every individual, every human being has an equal life right. That means the life you have is equal in each one at the point of birth. That which separates man from man is what happens after birth, once your education starts, for instance, or your environment influences you, your parents influence you, or the system influences you. Then you start becoming a separate individual and are taught not to respect the first point that makes your existence possible, which is life. Life, that is the one thing that is the same. You cannot say one person has more life than another person. That life as a life force is the same in each one, and thus is the first fundamental right. The second fundamental human right is that each human being is made up of substances that are given freely by the earth, so to speak. Dust, water, clay, all the chemicals and all the parts that form the eventual physical body. The resources on earth that are available are also freely available. Therefore, all resources on earth, fundamentally as a human right, belong to everyone. It is simply to be managed in the best way to ensure that everyone that is on earth actually receives the support to make it possible to have a life that is worthwhile, with dignity and happiness, in peace and harmony. The third fundamental human right is that every human fundamentally requires food to exist, food to have a life on earth, and therefore food, which is primarily actually a substance that is produced by the earth for free to a degree, except for the human labor part. Food is the third basic human right. Without food, nobody can exist. The very moment food becomes a scarcity that is used for control, one actually produces and changes the human into the behavior of a slave-master relationship, and there exists no human right in that relationship. The fourth fundamental human right is a fundamental right as well, because the human cannot exist without clean water. Thus, water, also freely provided by the earth, except for the part of purifying it, which is the human labor part, is a fundamental human right that is not possible to be negotiated, sold, or in any other way used to diminish another human being. To do such things is in fact human rights violations and a crime. The fifth fundamental human right is that every human being requires a place to live, a roof over their head, a home, a house. The human is not designed to live out in nature. The human requires a particular known way of protection, a house. Housing is not negotiable when it comes to human rights. There is no way that anyone that has a house can claim that their right to a house is more than another, and that they have a right to allow others to sleep on the streets, or to have no place that they can call their own. Thus, a home you can call your own is a basic human right, which is part of the fundamental nature of the human being. The actual human nature, which is, you need food, you need water, you need a home. That brings us to the sixth fundamental human right, which is education. Education is the way with which the current division is created on earth, and how the justification of the abuse of human rights is in fact done. Education is what creates the human as it is now, what creates what is now called human nature. But in fact, the nature of the human is that the human can be educated, and this education fundamentally must be based on what is best for all, considering human rights equally for all, and thus producing an understanding from birth of how to coexist on a planet with limited resources while we are all here. Thus, it is a violation to allow education to take place in a way that justifies abuse in any way whatsoever, because it is a known fact that the human will become the result of their education. This is in fact used and abused extensively by those that benefit from being in charge of the education of the human through media, schools and universities, religions, entertainment, consumerism, as all of the systems that now educate and manipulate the human, simply doing so in violating the most basic human rights, justifying why these human rights are apparently not valid, and that the only valid human right currently is profit, ownership, and master slavery relationships, all kinds of things that are in no way actual practical human rights or fit in with the very nature of the human being as a physical being. The seventh fundamental human right is the right to have a job, the right to labor, the right to have access to the means through which the ecosystem, the economy, is managed, which is the system of distribution of resources on Earth. Without such means, one creates a master-slave relationship, and there are no human rights within that relationship. Therefore, a basic human right is a job, employment, being part of the ecosystem, so that one can receive from it as you are giving to it. An ecosystem is a give and receive. Each one participates by giving their labor so that they can get or receive from it the result of the labor. There are those who enjoy things like research and finding solutions to enhance everyone's lives. There are also those who enjoy expressing themselves through physical work. Here, each has the opportunity to discover their true potential and utilize their skills in an empowering way. Identifying the particular skill one has to contribute to the system, the ecosystem, the economy, obviously is relevant. But at the end of the day, the right to receive from the ecosystem in equal measure is a basic human right as part of the basic human nature of a physical being that finds themselves on Earth. Thus, violating it as it is being done at the moment through the current systems that are being utilized, controlling it through controlling the education systems so that nobody can realize what they are really actually allowing and accepting on Earth, is criminal at the very least.